Alright y'all, so we are back with another legendary video. And I mean, every video I put out is legendary, but why not give y'all another one? So in this video, we are going to be discussing some of the pros and the cons of living in Tanzania. I want to start it off on a high note. Something that I really love about Tanzania, it was a pro to me and maybe a con to you, but for me, I loved how fruitful it was. I loved how it was very farm-like, how you can go outside your house and there can be goats and cows and ducks and just birds and everything everywhere. You couldn't walk more than a half a mile without seeing some type of animal, and I love that. I love that life. I always wanted to live the farm life, so I feel like that was a big pro for me. Another pro, since there was a lot of farm life there, what I can say for the amount of animals that you do see, it never smelled like a farm. Like, I know how farms have that nasty smell. It smells like cow manure, but it never smelled bad. Okay, so I feel like it was very clean in that aspect. They cleaned up after the animals, or they use it as compost. I'm not sure what they did with it, but I just know that there was a lot of animals from where we were, and it never stink. Well, it never stunk. Another pro, being that it was so fruitful and so farm-like, sometimes when you be driving, you will see the locals actually fishing on the side of the roads, where they had like ditches on the side of the road with water flowing through, and you will see some people actually fishing in that water. So I feel like that was pretty cool. You can get some local fresh caught fish. Another pro for me was that I felt like a lot of the locals would greet you when you would walk inside of the store, the restaurant, any type of environment. Even sometimes when you're walking on the street, some of the kids will walk by and say "Shikamo," or you know, some of the people will say "Mambo, Mambo," or "Caribou" when you walk inside of the store. So I feel like that was a big pro. I like to feel welcome places, and I like to feel like, you know, people see me when I walk in and they say hello and acknowledge your presence. A con for me, it was very dusty a lot of the times. A lot of the roads were just like dirt roads, or muddy roads, however you want to call it. It was just dirt flying everywhere. When the motorcycles would go by, or when the bajajis or the cars would drive on it, there would be a lot of dust, and that was a con for me personally because I have very bad sinus. Well, I had it at the time, and the dust would definitely flare up. I would start sneezing, or my nose would start itching and stuff like that. So I feel like that was a con for me. Another con, I don't know what this is about, but when you will be walking on the street, or like, you know, on the sidewalk or whatever, a lot of the people who had motorcycles would try to hit you. I'm not sure if they thought it was like a game, or if that was like a funny way of playing with you, but I personally didn't like that. I'm from a place where people hit you and they skirt off, so I didn't like that. I felt like I was always like having to be super aware of everything going on and watching every motorcycle or car going by, because I've had more than I can count on both hands and feet of incidences where people would try to hit me with a car or a motorcycle, and it was just very weird to me. I don't know if it was a game or what, but I personally wasn't playing. A con for me was the availability of dog and cat food. A lot of the times when I was there, you guys know I have a dog and a cat, but while I was there, I would try to keep my dog or my cat on the same type of cat food or dog food, and the availability of it was very scarce. So sometimes I would have to buy 2 or 3 bags while I saw it there, and you know, it adds up, especially when the dog food is like 75,000 shillings and the cat food is around 30,000. To buy 2 or 3 bags, it kind of adds up over time, plus the taxes and everything. So I just feel like it was very scarce, and a lot of the times I had to switch, especially my dog, I had to switch his food a lot of the times, to where I just started to feed him something that was like a dog food that looked like malto meal, cream of wheat, you know what I mean, something like that. And it basically said that it had all the nutrients that a dog needs, but he wasn't able to really have kibble steadily, because every time I would go to the store, it'll be out, and when it's out for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and you can't really just not feed your dog for 2 or 3 weeks because his brand of food is not there. So you have to switch it up, and that can cause a dog or a cat to get sick if you just abruptly switch his food. So I had a huge problem with that. Another con for me, when you would go into these stores to go and shop and look for certain items, a lot of the times once they hear you speak, or even just the way you dress or carry yourself, they knew that you were from America, and they would look at you as a cash cow, as a bank, as an ATM, however you want to put it. And 9 times out of 10, they didn't even want to hear you negotiate. So it was pretty hard to negotiate with people who didn't really want to negotiate with you. And I noticed that they will definitely let you walk away from a sale. They didn't really care if you didn't buy it, and they would rather that 10,000 walk out the door than to let it go for just 1,000 less. So I noticed that, and I didn't really like that. Another con for me, being from the States, we have things called lines, and if you're in line, people don't cut in front of you. And if they do, you basically let them know, hey, you cut in front of me, you need to get behind me. That's not what we do. So I noticed that in Tanzania, they don't care if you're in line, they don't care if you have one item, they don't care if you were there for 10 minutes. They will literally walk in front of you and just not move. They will put their stuff there and be like, well, it is what it is, you know. So a lot of the times I would be like, am I just invisible or what? Because 2 or 3 people will cut in front of me, and I'm like, I'm trying not to be rude because I know I'm not from here, but at the same time, I'm not gonna just let people walk away. So I quickly learned, when people cut in front of you, cut back in front of them. So I don't know if everybody does this. Some people might just let 10, 15 people cut in front of them and not care. But for me, I don't like that. Sometimes, most of the time, I have a place to go. So I just don't have time to sit here and wait for people to cut in front of me and not even like say excuse me or ask me, can they get in front of me? They just push me out the way and put their stuff there and pay and leave. So I didn't really like that. So I would just start cutting back if they cut in front of me. I never was a person who initiated the cutting, but I would definitely cut back in front of you if you cut in front of me, because that's just not what we do. And I'm not about to sit here and just let people cut in front of me, because I was in line for a reason, to pay for my stuff and leave. If I wanted you to cut in front of me, I would have told you. So another con for me is that if you ask somebody, can they do something, for them, it's rude to say no. So they will all tell you yes, they can, even though they don't know what they're doing. They will say yes, that they can do it, and literally wait till they get there and butcher everything, and then be like, well, you know, I didn't know how to do it. So you kind of have to vet people really well to know who actually has the capability of doing the job that they actually say they do, versus people who would just accept the job and say yes and then butcher everything and be like, well, I don't know how to do it, you know what I mean, because they didn't know how to say no, because technically it's rude for them. And another thing I want to add, if you do hire someone for a job and they accept, be prepared for them to show up with a friend, and that friend to even not even work at all, but expect for you to pay them for just being there with the person who actually done the job. That has happened to a few people that I know, and that happened to me once personally as well. So I would just like to say, be wary of that. Okay, another pro for me is that I love that there was a lot of fruit and vegetables available to you. I love that when you went to a restaurant, you weren't gonna order a dish that really had no vegetables in there or no type of nutrients. A lot of the dishes had at least 2 to 3 vegetables included in that dish. And so that was something that I really like. I feel like I ate the most vegetables in my entire life there while I was there, and it was good. For me, it was that I was able to let my dog and my cat roam outside. They were able to, my dog, I can just open the door and let him go outside, and I knew he was okay because we were in a fenced-in house. And for my cat really didn't go outside of our perimeter, which was dope. Sometimes he would go behind us, which was basically like a little farm, and they had like a bunch of cows on there. But other than that, he really didn't go too far from the house. And so I really like that. I like the fact that my pets were able to roam, especially after being cooped up in an apartment for almost 2 years of their life. I feel like that was definitely a breath of fresh air for them, and I loved it. Another con I would say for me, and this one was a pretty big one for me, is that the homeowners, when you are moving into a place, they would try to skip out in as many repairs as possible. and say, okay, you had a list of repairs that you wanted them to fix before you moved in because you're leaving your Airbnb by a certain date. They will fix some of them, but not all of them. And I feel like they would wait till the last minute until you got there and been like, well, you know, we'll come back and fix it another time. And it's like, I already am about to give you the money, I already, you know, finished with my Airbnb rental, and now I'm calling you a week later after I rented and paid you your money for the next 3 to 6 months. Now you're not answering my phone to do these repairs and things like that. So I feel like definitely be wary of that. If you have the financial ability to stay in a hotel or stay in an Airbnb for a little bit longer until they do fix those repairs, I would recommend that you do that, because once you move in, basically you pretty much accepted everything that was wrong with the house or with the apartment, and they will not come back to fix it. They will literally leave you in there for the next 6 months without a flushing toilet or without the boxes being fixed or whatever, you know. So I would say definitely be wary of that. So if you got this far into the video, I would just like to say thank you guys for watching my video. Thank you guys for liking this video, because I'm assuming that you guys have already liked it. And if you haven't liked it, you right there, go ahead and smash that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be in tune and know first when the next time I post or go live on this beautiful YouTube channel. And yeah, peace and blessings, fam.